दुनिया में सबसे सुरक्षित व्यक्ति कौन है? तुम्हारा दुश्मन नहीं जानता तुम किसके हो. Who is the most secure person in the world? Your enemy doesn't know whose you are. We spend our lives constructing fortresses. We stack money in retirement accounts, chase elite titles, and install heavy locks to guarantee our safety against an unpredictable world. Yet, despite living behind the thickest walls and highest financial padding in human history, we are often consumed by a quiet, constant panic. The locks on the outside do nothing to stop the anxiety rattling around on the inside. True security cannot be bought or hoarded. It doesn't come from external barriers but from the ability to master your own internal state. In Pashupata Shaivism, this vulnerability is the Pashu, a soul encased by earthly attachments. These attachments are Pasha, invisible chains. Chasing status pulls these bonds tighter. But Pashupati, Lord of the Bonds, is the supreme consciousness that dissolves this fear.
To understand why we can't simply fight our way out of these traps, we have to look at the moment a legendary warrior tried to do exactly that. During their exile, the Pandava prince Arjuna realized he needed more than skill to win the impending war against his cousins. He needed an external advantage, the Pashupatastra, a divine weapon of insurmountable power. He traveled to the Indrakila mountains to perform tapasya, an extreme physical penance meant to summon Lord Shiva. In the freezing, thin air of the Himalayas, he survived on nothing, focusing his entire will on a single goal. His focus was broken by a sudden attack. A demon named Mukasura, disguised as a massive wild boar, charged through the brush. Arjuna's immediate instinct was to fire, but a second arrow struck the beast at the exact same millisecond. Out of the forest stepped a Kirata, a rugged mountain hunter. The two men immediately began a fierce argument over who claimed the kill. On the surface, they were fighting over a hunted animal. In reality, Arjuna's mortal arrogance had collided head-on with a supreme force he didn't even recognize. The fierce argument quickly escalated into a battle. Arjuna unleashed his highest celestial weapons, missiles of fire, water, and wind. The hunter neutralized them all with a casual wave of his hand. Arjuna emptied his quiver. He drew his sword, and the blade shattered. Physically drained and psychologically crushed, the prince who considered himself the greatest archer on earth found himself completely powerless. In that moment of total vulnerability, Arjuna surrendered. He constructed a humble Shiva linga out of mud and offered a simple flower garland in prayer. When he looked up, the same garland he had just offered to the mud idol was now resting around the hunter's neck. The hunter shed his disguise to reveal his true cosmic form as Lord Shiva. Arjuna had passed the test, not through archery, but through humility. Shiva granted him the Pashupatastra. This was the spiritual tool required to cut the pasha, the internal bondage. It is a power that can only be wielded by a mind completely emptied of ego. We fight that same wild boar every day. Our demons take the form of career pressure, social media addiction, and the constant urge to compare our lives to others. We try to solve these anxieties with money, status, or emotional dependency. It is Arjuna firing celestial weapons at a force that cannot be defeated by force. Seeking security in bank accounts or relationships leaves the foundational chains of the Pashu untouched. It is a surface-level solution to a structural psychological problem. The modern prison is entirely invisible. We are captives who actively mistake our psychological chains for safety harnesses. The real power of the Pashupatastra in the modern world is the realization that strength lies in self-mastery and the refusal to exert power over others. Giving up the desperate need to control external outcomes is the only way to achieve freedom from fear. Spiritual liberation doesn't require an escape to the Himalayas. It requires shifting your internal perception of the world you already live in. Jab tak manushya apne bandhanon ko pehchan nahi leta, until a human recognizes their bonds, वो स्वयं को स्वतंत्र समझते हुए भी कैदी रहता है. They remain a prisoner while believing themselves free. और जिस दिन वो पशुपति की शरण में पहुंच जाता है, and the day they take refuge in Pashupati, उस दिन संसार नहीं बदलता, उसकी जंजीरें टूट जाती हैं. The world doesn't change, but their chains are broken.